start the meeting. Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the City of Dania Beach. This is our Dania Beach City Commission regular meeting, Wednesday, September 13th, 2023, just past 7 p.m. Clerk Alora, could I please have a roll call?
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
Here. Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner James?
Here.
Commissioner Salvino?
Here.
City Attorney Boutsis? Here. City Manager Garcia?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Clerk. If I could have everybody please take a moment of silence and bow their heads. Now, if we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll get right into business for item 3.1 with our budget and public hearing items. Eve?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida relating to the imposition of fire rescue assessments and provision of fire protection services, facilities, and programs in the City of Dania Beach, Florida, confirming, supplementing, and amending the preliminary rate resolution, reimposing fire rescue assessments with updated assessment rates against assessed property located within the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, approving the rate of assessment, approving the final assessment roll, providing for effect of adoption of resolution, conflicts, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. Frank?
Good evening, everyone. As you're all aware, back in July, the City Commission adopted tentative assessment rates, one of which is the fire assessment. That assessment rate is decreasing by over $30 per household. And what we're asking tonight is to approve that rate for final and accept the rates that were proposed and that were tentatively approved in July. There's been no changes since July.
Okay, thank you, Frank. This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? No possible discussion from the commission? All right, I have Commissioner Salvino.
Make a motion to pass the item.
I have a motion from Commissioner Salvino.
Second.
I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Now on to item 3.2. Eve?
A resolution of the City Commission relating to the provision of solid waste service assessments in the City of Dania Beach, reimposing solid waste service assessment against assessed property located within the boundaries of the City of Dania Beach for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, approving the rate of assessment, approving the assessment roll, providing for conflicts, and an effective date.
Similarly to the fire assessment, this is the rate that was adopted back in July, $408 per household. That's a $12 increase. It's just keeping in line with the costs that we're paying to Waste Management for our solid waste residential collection. And we're asking that you approve that rate of $408 that was approved in July.
Thank you, Frank. This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item from the public? Any discussion from the commission? No? Okay. Can I entertain a motion? Vice Mayor Llewellyn? All right. I have a motion from Vice Mayor. I have a second from Commissioner Davis. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the item passes. Item 3.2 passes. Now we can go on to item 3.3.
A resolution of the City Commission relating to the provision of stormwater management services, imposing and reimposing stormwater assessments against property located within the City of Dania Beach for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, approving the rate of assessment, approving the assessment roll, providing for conflicts, and an effective date.
Thank you. So the stormwater assessment, as you know, we adopted a tentative rate in July of $160 per equivalent residential unit. And since then, since the trim notices went out to property owners, we became aware of some issues that people raised. and there have been some concerns about how the units are charged, and in certain cases, properties being charged more units than others. And we've had many conversations with residents and property owners in the city, and we definitely understand the concern and the frustration. We've had multiple internal discussions between myself, City Manager Garcia, Attorney Eve Boots, and Deputy City Manager Candido Sosa Cruz. And ultimately, what we're recommending at this time is to roll back to the $60 rate from the prior year, so no increase year over year. And with your permission, going forward into the fall, we'd like to look at our assessment program and see if there's a better way that we can implement a methodology that would have our residents feel better served by this program and ensure that we still have the funding available to do the improvements that we need to do.
Thank you, Frank. This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Please state your name and address, ma'am. In the microphone, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Charmaine DiFrancesco, a resident of Dania Beach. I want to thank the Dania Beach Commission for this opportunity to have a voice in our community. When I signed up to speak tonight, my goal was to oppose the proposed stormwater assessment I became aware of when I received my proposed tax notice from Broward County. I became a resident of Dania Beach in 2015 and honestly never noticed the specific city taxes or assessments on my proposed statements from Broward County until I began itemizing each line due to the proposed taxes this year when my taxes skyrocketed. It was then that I became aware of the $100 increase for the Dania stormwater assessment. Given the flooding issues in our city, that was to be expected, but because of this increase, I also became aware that residents who own property in Townhouse East would be assessed at 3.5 units as opposed to 1 unit for single-family homes. This resulted in a proposed increase of $350, which brings the proposed stormwater assessment for residents in Townhouse East to $560. Upon my realization of this, I sent a message to the commission via email, and I want to thank in particular Commissioner Tamara James for her prompt response to my concerns, and also CFO Frank DiPaolo for taking the time to discuss the assessment process with me. I think perhaps we all learned a little bit. However, I am still unclear why Townhouse East residents are being assessed at 3.5 times the rate of other Dania Beach residents, which is the reason I'm still choosing to use my voice tonight. Mr. DiPaolo informed me by phone last week that there would be no increase in the stormwater for Dania Beach residents this year, and that the city would investigate methods of calculating future assessments in the upcoming year. I would like to thank Dania Beach for being prudent in their decision to take this action, and I am hopeful that a more understandable and fair formula for assessing individual homeowners within Dania Beach can be found. It is also my suggestion that you offer and provide homeowners with guidance to help them understand how we are being assessed as much as why we are being assessed in Dania Beach. Thank you all for considering the views of others, including myself.
Thank you. Could you please state your address? I know your townhome east.
450 Southeast 7th Street.
All right, thank you very much. Frank, would you like to give a little clarification?
I'm sorry?
Would you like to give a little clarification regarding why
Yeah,
Townhouse East was
yeah,
charged
so-
3.5 units?
Yeah, and when we look at this community versus other communities in the area, it's a little different when we go from single-family homes to condominiums and townhomes. They're usually very large pieces of land, and they vary in their appearance and the way they're constructed. Some of them have large areas of green space, they have ponds, they have certain ways of capturing the runoff on site and retaining all the water and not having an impact on the city's drainage system. There are other communities, like the one where Ms. DiFrancesco lives, that are largely paved and flat, and they have a very intense impact on the city's stormwater system. They don't retain water. So just based on the calculations and the size of the property, it results in them being charged a little bit of a higher rate. That's just the way it breaks down per unit. So, and again, we understand that that can be perceived as an issue, and we definitely want to take a look at it and explore explore the best options to move forward.
Thank you, Frank. Any discussion? Commissioner James?
I just want to make a comment that and commend the city staff for going back and looking at this and for our resident voicing her concerns because it is important to all of us here and helping us to understand the differences when you live in a townhouse and a condo and all these different things. And so thank you to the staff for coming up with a solution that doesn't impact our residents. And I look forward to a solution. And with that, I would like to make a motion to pass item, what is this, 3.3?
3.
3.3.
I have a motion from Commissioner James. I have a second from Commissioner Salvino. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, any opposed? You guys have it, Alora. Thanks, Frank. Oh, well, you stay up there, actually. Item 3.4, please, Eve.
A resolution of the City Commission as required by the City Charter and Section 200.065 of the Florida Statutes, approving the proposed millage rate necessary to be levied for the fiscal year 2023-2024 for operating purposes, establishing the debt millage approved by the electorate, providing for a public hearing when and where objections may be heard and questions concerning the same will be answered, providing for conflicts and an effective date. I also have a little speech I need to read. This announcement is for tonight's budget hearing. The proposed operating municipal millage rate will be 5.9998 mils, which reflects no change from the city's current fiscal year millage rate. This operating millage rate represents a 10.61% increase over the rolled back rate of 5.4243 mils as computed in accordance with the provisions of Section 200.065 subsection 1 of the Florida statutes. The voter-approved debt service millage rate is 0.1070 mils in accordance with the provisions of law pursuant to Chapter 200 of the Florida statutes. The city's aggregate millage rate is 6.1068 mils, which includes 5.9998 mils for operating and the 0.1070 mils for debt service. The final public hearing for the budget and ad valorem tax millage will be held on Wednesday, September 20th, 2023, here at 100 West Dania Beach Boulevard at 5:05 p.m.
Frank,
Nothing to add.
further elaborate? Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item from the public? Any discussion from the commission? Vice Mayor?
To approve?
I have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor. I have a second from Commissioner Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Millage rate has been passed.
Okay.
Item 3.4, thank you. Now on to item 3.5.
A resolution of the City Commission as required by the City Charter and Section 200.065 of the Florida Statutes, approving a tentative annual budget for the city for fiscal year 2023 through 2024, providing for a public hearing when objections will be heard and questions concerning the budget will be answered, providing for conflicts and an effective date.
The tentative budget being adopted here tonight provides for operations of 12 city funds and ensures that we have the resources we need to continue and provides for all of the amazing new initiatives and personnel additions and infrastructure enhancements that are in that budget. So we ask that you do a tentative approval or approve the tentative budget tonight for final adoption next Wednesday at 5:05 p.m.
Thank you, Frank. This is a public hearing. Does any member of the public wish to speak on this item? All right, I don't see anybody. Any discussion from the commission? Vice Mayor? Oh, okay, we have a discussion from Commissioner Salvino.
Yeah, I just want to try to clarify a couple things that the residents understand on the 5.99 that we keep bringing up. That's been our standard, tax for the city for years. I know it hasn't changed at all, and we've been very, very diligent in trying to keep it there. And with all the new things that are coming in the city, we actually talked about even trying to lower it once in a while, but it's hard to do that when we have so many problems with drainage systems and things that go on. Some of the things that you have on the ad valorem taxes that people keep adding, we don't really have a lot of control over that. When your services outside, start charging you more for your garbage, your BSO, your fire, your safety, what it's cost. Everybody's complaining about the drainage systems and this and that. So I just want the residents to be aware that we're not trying to raise the taxes. It's just a cost of surviving and making your city a better place. Sometimes you're faced with that, just going to a restaurant and next week it's $1 more on the menu for something because it costs more to put the food out. Just trying to make everybody understand that we're not trying to be bad up here with the taxes. We're trying to level it so everybody understands that it's just a growing community, and no matter what community, and whether it's small or large, if we're a better place and everybody loves Dania Beach, you have to accept some of these things that come up. And just like Commissioner James said, our staff is working very, very hard at trying to make things come out right for the residents of Dania Beach. And I just felt I needed to say that so everybody understands, if they didn't quite get it in the basic, because it does bother me the fact that property taxes go up because I'm affected quite a bit, but it is something they have to learn to accept. So you just have to be smart about it and try to make. And I think the young lady brought up the fact about bringing to the public and trying to make the public understand what those taxes are about. I think that's something that we should be able to do, whether in our new newsletter or some form of a seminar or something, that everybody understands those line items, because those line items are very, very important, that people understand what they're getting charged for so they don't maybe take an offensive to it so quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any more discussion or entertain a motion?
Just real quick, and there, a lot of these projects that you see out there, we don't necessarily see revenue from initially, tax revenue, correct?
Correct.
It takes some time, so that's another factor. A lot of people think that as soon as something gets approved, we start seeing tax revenue, but we don't. So it does take time, but down the road at some point, when projects are completed and we are starting to see some revenue from these things, that's when we can start talking about the reduction in taxes, I think. So, in any event, that's all. With that, I'd make a motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. I have a second from Commissioner Salvino. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, Alora. None
Thank you.
opposed.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
All right, so that does it with our public hearing items. Now, for our presentation of special event approvals, we have a very special guest in our commission this evening, and she's a great leader for our city. She's known most of the commission for a good amount of time. She's newly elected, but feels like she's been there for a long time. And it's my pleasure to present Representative Hillary Cassell from the Florida House of Representatives on session updates, and this item is sponsored by our Vice Mayor, Lori Llewellyn.
It's good to be home. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Commission, for having me. For those of you that don't know in the audience, my name is Hillary Cassell. I have the honor and privilege of representing District 101, which includes my home city of Dania Beach, as well as portions of Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Davie, and Hallandale. So it's always great to be able to be home and to also be here with my neighbors. So thank you so much for having me. Obviously, what I've been asked to do is really kind of just give you guys a little bit of a legislative update, a legislative session sort of overview of what happened this past legislative session, and talk to you about what I intend and plan on working on this upcoming session as I head back to Tallahassee on Sunday. So thank you for having me. I think it's really important to talk about the work that we do in Tallahassee. Out of 1,828 bills that were filed, 356 passed this legislative session out of both chambers. 81.5% of all of the legislation that passes in Tallahassee passes with full bipartisan support. What does that mean? Less than 5 people are voting in opposition to a bill. So oftentimes what we hear in Tallahassee is really what's going to be on the news, all of the, sort of division that we see in our country and in our state, but really the work that your legislators are doing in Tallahassee is being done with bipartisan support at a tune of 81.5% of the legislation that passes. I am honored and privileged as a freshman legislator to have been asked to assist 2 of my Republican colleagues in getting legislation across the finish line, one of them dealing with boating safety and ensuring that as tourists and individuals come into our state, rent boats, have no idea what they're doing, that they are required to carry some level of insurance to make sure not only are they protected, but in the event of an injury, anyone injured is protected as well as those small businesses. I was also asked to co-sponsor a bill related to the hemp industry. So what people may or may not know is the hemp industry in Florida is a $16 billion economic engine here in the state of Florida. And it's several small businesses here in Dania Beach rely on that industry. But prior to this legislative session, it was really an unregulated industry, having really just been authorized by the federal government in 2018 with the passage of the Farm Bill. We saw this hemp industry grow astronomically in a very, very short period of time without a lot of regulation. So I was asked to prime co and sponsor that bill with my Republican colleague, Representative Robinson, to make sure that all stakeholders and small businesses were protected and they could still operate. But really what we wanted to focus on is making sure that children were protected. So we instituted a minimum age requirement of 21 to be able to purchase the products, as well as requiring any products that are going to be on the marketplace are not attractive to children. Similar things that we did in the tobacco industry as well as alcohol, to make sure kids aren't incentivized or attracted to this type of product, because obviously it does have some characteristics in it that we don't want children to get their hands on. The bill that I am the most proud of passing this legislative session, I was the sponsor of. In Plantation, you all may have remembered, sadly, we lost a little boy by the name of Grayson Kessler at the age of 4 years old. He was killed in apparent murder-suicide, and sadly, this was a situation where the mom did everything right. She utilized the court system. She utilized the police services, and brought over 250 pages of evidence to a judge to explain why these threats of escalation, intimidation, and harassment against her should have been sufficient to protect Grayson. Sadly, because of the law on the books at the time, the judge followed the law, but the law did not allow the judge to take into consideration threats from one parent to another as threats being against the child. And sadly, Grayson was killed, but within a very short period of time, we were able to get that legislation passed. It was brought the year before I was elected and didn't make it across the finish line, but last year as a freshman legislator, I was able to pass Grayson's law, and I will forever be indebted to Senator Berman for asking me and giving me that honor and privilege of helping Grayson and his mom's legacy, Grayson's legacy live on through really changing our our family law court system. I have the honor and privilege of serving on, of course, now I can't remember my passcode. It's not working. Never works when you need it, right? But I have the honor and privilege of serving really in the infrastructure silo. While it's not my area of expertise, you guys on the dais know that I'm a property insurance expert. It's what prompted me to run for office. We are in a property insurance crisis, and we are still here. But apparently 15 years of experience in the property insurance industry just aren't enough to get you on the banking and insurance committee. So I think it's because I'm a little too loud, but I'm a little too loud and a little too vocal. But I was asked to serve in the infrastructure silo, and I'm actually really happy to be in there because I think that is the committee that deals with the issues that really are the most impactful for the cities that I have the honor and privilege of representing. We deal with water quality, supply and treatment, energy, communications, cybersecurity. I also have the honor of serving on the select committee for hurricane resiliency, being a hurricane expert. Speaker Renner was kind enough to include me in that select committee, and last year was the first year the committee had ever been put together, and I serve on the main infrastructure strategies committee, which we know is crucial. If we want to protect ourselves from floods and hurricanes, we really need to make sure that our infrastructure is brought up to speed, and we need to be forward thinking in how we're planning for Florida. So while I don't sit in my wheelhouse, I absolutely love the committees that I'm on because I really do think it gives me the best opportunity to come back to my cities, talk to you guys what we're talking about in Tallahassee, and it's really the most impactful for Florida as a whole. Generally speaking, we passed the largest budget in state history at $116 billion. I was happy to bring back $6.2 million to the district. We were able to secure $500,000 for the city of Dania Beach for a stormwater project, In addition to that, I brought back 1.5 million to the Holocaust Documentation and Education Center, which is also located here in Dania Beach. So I like to think that 2 million, that I was successful in bringing back $2 million to Dania Beach specifically. My legislative priorities for this year, it's property insurance. It's all anybody wants to talk about. Considering that is my area of expertise and that's my wheelhouse, I'm really going to focus on that and bringing forth some legislation that I think, one, is going to bring Floridians relief. We really need to help our community, our that are 65 and older, as well as those that are low to moderate income. They're starting to be outpriced. Florida is becoming unaccountable, and we've really got to tackle that property insurance. I'm also going to focus on a property insurance bill that's going to provide some additional options in the condominium space. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of options for condominiums and HOAs in securing and procuring affordable, available, and reliable insurance. So making sure that we put some additional options on the marketplace for them to take into consideration that will help lower those premiums is something that I'm working on. And additionally, the last insurance bill that I'll be working on is what people don't realize is 49% of what they pay in their insurance premiums actually goes to cover the cost of reinsurance. Reinsurance is insurance companies, is insurance for insurance companies. It gives them the opportunity to have a plan B in the event that something happens. Well, as long as those costs continue to rise, homeowners' cost and cost of insurance is going to continue to rise. So we need to create a better state-backed reinsurance package that's not so reliant on a global marketplace, which is currently what we rely on for our reinsurance. My last priorities are in the mental health space. Those of you up there know my own personal story. Although I'm an attorney and a business owner, a mom, a state representative, I think I've done pretty well in my life. I definitely do all of that in spite of and despite of my own mental health issues. I live with bipolar every single day. I was diagnosed 15 years ago as a young attorney with $160,000 in school debt. And I really don't want people to face the obstacles that I face. We know that we struggle with access to care here in the state of Florida. We currently rank 43rd in the country for patient to provider ratio, meaning for every 550 people that need mental health services, there is one provider. So creating a loan incentive and a loan forgiveness, scholarship program and a loan forgiveness program to get more mental health providers into those areas are community-based programs rather than going into private practice, incentivizing them to qualify for these programs, to go into our community-based programs. We know 85% of people seeking mental health services obtain those services. So I'm also working on some other pieces of legislation, but I'm not ready to share those details with you yet. But those are my legislative priorities coming up for 2023, 2024. I love seeing you all in Tallahassee. I hope to see you up there again. Come by the office. We always have a good time. So thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
All right. Vice Mayor?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Hillary, for coming. I've known Hillary for quite some time now. We're both attorneys, and we both live in Dania Beach and around the same part of town. Something that I don't know if everybody knows this, but she's very responsive. So if you need something, she takes care of it. She gets somebody to talk to you if she can't do it herself, if she's in session or something like that. But I'm glad you mentioned the mental health aspect of the things that you do, because that's very important. And as I mentioned to you briefly before, I'm going to be bringing something to you. We'll talk about it a little bit more. I'll talk about it a little bit more tonight. I do appreciate you coming out tonight and giving us this update. People don't always get to see their representatives up close and ask questions. So thank you very much for entertaining it tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, Representative Cassell, it's a privilege to have you leading our city up in Tallahassee. It's a tough fight up there, and you're definitely fighting the good fight. And me being a licensed insurance agent on the front lines, it's always nice to speak with you about the market and the conditions and what could be improved and where we're lacking. And your expert advice on that is helpful not only to our city but helpful to our entire state. And I'm sure you're going to get a lot more flack when it comes to a lot more push when it comes to helping us with our insurance crisis that we're facing. And as Vice Mayor said, you're always communicative. It's great to have a qualified leader like you. And it's great to have you living in our city as well. So just like anything, we need from you, you could say you have an open door. Same thing with us. So, real pleasure, and I know we're not done yet. So, Commissioner Davis.
Really quick, thank you so much, Hillary. I really am so proud that you can stand here boldly and shine a light on the mental health crisis and stand in your truth in everything that you do, with being a mom, being, a state representative, and being so bold and proud and fighting for the city of Dania Beach the way that you do. But I really want to send a huge kudos for you passing and sponsoring Grayson's Law. That was so touching and so needed, and that's going to make a difference in the lives of so many families. So I couldn't let you leave without really saying thank you for being a champion for our children and a great Dania Beach resident in the state. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. James?
Yes, hey Hillary.
Hi.
Just thank you for tackling the unsexy things, not the things that everyone else, the easy tasks and issues that a lot of other legislators they pay attention to, but the fine details to what really builds a community, what builds our state, what builds our country. Those are the things that are that impact us at a national level. So thank you for that, and thank you for bringing $2 million to the city of Dania Beach. We're hoping that you top yourself next year. Thank you.
Let's do it. We got to do it together. It takes all of us.
And Commissioner Salvino.
I'm always last, and that's okay.
Not least.
Everything they said is good. I just want to thank you very much for representing our city.
Go ahead, Anna.
Thank you for the privilege, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to thank you, Representative Cassell. To be a leader, sometimes you have to be tough, but you also should be vulnerable, as you are. You're such a legitimate individual, and it's been an honor to have you here and to visit and spend time with you in Tallahassee, and we couldn't be more grateful. And I don't think there's anybody else that could be serving us better than you're serving us. So grateful, and thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, with all that praise, I think you should come back for whenever you're in town again.
Anytime.
Thank you very much, Representative Cassell. Real pleasure. Yeah, let's get a picture. You want to go down or up? Stay up. I know. Oh, let's go down.
Welcome to my world.
Okay, on to item 4.2. We have a presentation from the Broward County Tax Collector. This item is sponsored by Commissioner James. Hello, please state your name and address.
Name and address. I'm Abby Ajayi, and I'm the Abby Ajayi, and I'm the manager of the Broward County Tax Collector's Office. My address is restricted, so I'm not allowed to
Just for
publicly
the,
say that.
the
Governmental
the
Center.
governmental address.
115 South, 115 South Andrews Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So thank you for having me this evening. I'm here to talk about the hot topic, property taxes. And I'm a subject matter expert. And I want to focus specifically about the conveniences, the affordability, and the opportunities that are available within the tax collector's office in the process of paying taxes. So one of the questions that we're asked about the most is, how do you come about the amount that we have to pay for our property taxes? I know earlier somebody mentioned the fact that they want clarity on the line items that total their tax amount. I'm happy to come back to address that because those tax bills come out of our offices. The property appraiser, Marty Kier, determines the tax amount. We start off by picking up that tax amount and placing it on the tax bill. Earlier, you were voting on the millage rate, and we're waiting for the tax roll to be certified by the property appraiser in order to put out the bills November 1st. So every year we put out about 850,000 property tax bills. And those amount comes directly from the certified roll. And those go out November 1st and are payable from November 1st through March 31st. This brochure is included in every tax bill that goes out. Has a lot of information, tends to be discarded or not really. Most people don't pay attention to it, but it's a lot of useful information. It has a lot of the phone numbers for the taxing authorities, so every taxpayer can refer to that. And also some of the most frequently asked questions are in that brochure. For property tax payment, we want to talk about affordability. We have people living on fixed income, our seniors, our veterans. They need for those taxes to be affordable. So now property taxes are going up every year. So we have quarterly payments that they can make. A lot of people are not aware that they can break their payment into 4 payments and still maintain the early payment discount in order to make it affordable. Imagine somebody with a $5,000 payment. If they pay in November, that's $200 discount that they can use towards groceries or whatever they need personally. In addition to that, we have a 5-payment option where they can actually break that payment into 5 payments and make it more affordable. Realtors and closing agents are always asking us about payoffs. They want to pay off the property taxes. They just had a sale, you have the buyer on one side, and you have the seller on the other side. So these taxes are usually prorated. For example, if somebody were to close on their property sale today, the seller will pay from January through September, and then the buyer will pay from October till the end of the year. It's prorated to make it more convenient. So this portion of the chart that's up here talks about the total amount that we collect and how it's distributed. The school board takes the lion's share of the property tax that we collect. They take about 30%, and then all the other taxing authorities shares the portion that's left over. Last year, for 2022 tax year, we collected a little bit over $5.2 billion. And the school board, again, carries the lion's share, which works out to be about $1.7 billion, goes to the school board. For City of Dania Beach, the taxable value was about $1.26 billion for about 5,351 properties. What happens when taxes become delinquent? This is a focus of our office. We want to make sure that when taxes become delinquent, which is April 1st, if there's anyone in our community that's not able to make their tax payment, they need to call us. You know, Marty Kier, the tax assessor, has a robust program where it's going after people that steal other people's homes. They changed the deed, and this is one of the focus of our office also because it impacts us. So if somebody is not able to make their tax payment, they panic. You know, somebody comes in front of them, they're vulnerable at that point. They may sign their deed away unknowingly, or they may sign a promissory note with very high interest rate. There is no need for that. They just need to call our office. We have options for each individual that we can discuss. We also have information from different agencies that assist people that are not able to pay their taxes. So all they have to do is reach out to us, and we'll tell them what their options are. This flow chart looks really complex, And I added that simply to show how the payments flow through our system. Because when people come to the window and they hand over a check or they hand over their tax bill, it doesn't stop there. There's different silos that it goes into to make sure that it goes in the right bucket for the right city, the right amount, and is distributed accurately to all the taxing authorities. Some fun facts, just to not make it too boring. I know property tax, talking about it is a little bit boring, talking about numbers. For our office, the call center took about 20,000 calls for us in the first quarter, so we're a very busy office. 82% of the taxes are paid by November. So when you imagine we put out about 850,000 bills and 726,000 of it are paid in 1 month, we're very, very busy office in November. Yes, pop quiz. It's not really a pop quiz, just to wake people up. Yes, we have a quiz. Not only do we collect property taxes, we collect business taxes also. We have about 85,000 business accounts that come in. This used to be called occupational license. Every business in Broward County is supposed to have a business tax receipt. So right now we have 85,000 of those. And the amount we collect from that is a nominal fee, totals about $3.5 million. It's a nominal fee because we want all the businesses to register. Because the advantage is to being registered. You're eligible to do business with Broward County because you cannot do business with Broward County if you don't have a business tax receipt. You're also not eligible for grants and any loan with favorable interest rate if you're not a registered business. So we try to encourage all businesses to register. There's opportunities within the Small Business and Economic Development Office, which is upstairs from us. And we help businesses when they come in to get the necessary paperwork they need to go upstairs and apply for grants and loans that are favorable that are being offered. Of all the phone calls that the call center answers for us, most of it is property tax related, obviously because we have such a huge volume of properties in Broward County. That number goes up every year simply because we're growing as a county. I mentioned that we collected $5.2 billion for 2022. Right now for 2023, we're getting ready to send out those bills November 1st. And that number will go closer to $6 billion for next year, for 2023. We put out about 1 million tax bills total for the year out of that office. And online is the highest number of usage that we have. A lot of our property tax bills are paid online. And that's the best method to make tax payment because you get your receipt right away, your bill is paid. And this is because of automation. We focus on automation in the office so that now we're very efficient. A lot of bills are paid online, and year after year, that number grows. So right now, like I said earlier, 82% of those taxes are paid. About 60% of that is paid online. Thank you for your attention. Again, I know property tax is a hot button because it's going up, and everybody wants to find out why that is happening. And I'm available for any questions that you may have, and you can reach out to our office also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the commission?
Say that again?
Commissioner James?
No, just want to thank you, Abby, for coming. I mean, that was very cumbersome and it's a lot of information. But for the residents that are out there that have different questions, especially regarding your property taxes and the breakdown that Commissioner Salvino was just talking about in the education, Abby's right here. Contact her. She'll help you out. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. Okay, on to item 4.3. This is a Dania After Dark event series special event application. This is with Parks and Rec? No? Yeah. Okay. I have a motion from Commissioner Salvino to pass it, and I have a second from Commissioner James. All in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank
Dania
you.
After Dark. We're good.
We're good. Thank you.
I'm sure we'll talk to you guys later in the meeting. Why? No. You wanted to speak? Ashley, do you want to give a small presentation on the Dania After Dark? No, we're okay. Everybody knows we have Oktoberfest in October, all right? It's going to be a big event. We haven't had Dania After Dark since like February last year, so this is very exciting. February this year, so it's very exciting. All right, now let's move to proclamations. Section 5 of the meeting. So for 5.1, I'd like to give a proclamation on Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. But before I do, I would like to call Augustina and Andrew up to the stage to just provide a few words.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. So, my name is Augustina. This is Andy. We're here on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Broward County. That's right, we let boys into our club. We're also here on behalf of the Florida chapter of American Academy of Pediatrics. I want to thank the City Commission and the Mayor for recognizing September as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Over 45,000 Americans each year take their lives by suicide, and half of those are by firearms. Locking up your guns saves lives. The new phone number for mental health hotline is 988. We have here some free gun locks if anybody would like them. We're sitting back there, so if anybody wants a free gun lock, we're here to give them out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, as our representative just stated, mental health is a very big issue that this country faces. So I figured this proclamation is only fitting. And this is a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor, City of Dania Beach, Florida, whereas the City of Dania Beach is firmly committed to raising awareness about suicide prevention. And whereas the month of September is nationally recognized as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And more than 45,000 Americans die by suicide each year. In Florida, a person dies by suicide every 2 hours on average. Suicides in Florida far outnumber homicides. And whereas suicide is a national epidemic costing the lives of more than 6,000 veterans each year and is leading cause of death for first responders. Firearms are the leading method of suicide in Florida and the most lethal method. Access to a gun triples the risk of death. And whereas the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Children's Hospital Association, and the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry have declared a national emergency in child mental health. And whereas suicide is the second leading cause of death for children, adolescents, and young adults aged 10 to 24 years old. And whereas it is critical to recognize the signs of depression that may lead to thoughts of suicide, including speaking about wanting to die, feelings of isolation or hopelessness, increased use of drugs or alcohol, and severe mood swings. And whereas it is critical to recognize the best methods to prevent suicide when a person is in crisis, ask if the person is thinking of taking their life, keep them safe, and remove their access to lethal means such as poisons, prescription drugs, and firearms. Get them professional help. In Florida, dial 211 or call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline 1-800-273-8255 or text 741741 and dial 988, correct? Augustina? All right. Whereas the League of Women Voters of Broward County has provided significant leadership in suicide prevention through community education and creation of their Lock It Up gun safety program. And whereas the Florida chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics has provided significant leadership in suicide prevention through community education and programming. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Dania Beach Commission, I, A.J. Ryan IV, Mayor of the City of Dania Beach, do hereby proclaim September 23rd as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in the City of Dania Beach, and I do support the mission of Lock It Up and the League of Women Voters of Broward County Gun Safety Committee, as well as the Florida chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics by encouraging safe storage of firearms and removal of other lethal means to prevent suicide. Ma'am, if you could come up and present, accept the proclamation. Can we get a picture just up here real fast? Andrew, please come up too. Yeah, we'll just stand right here. Yeah, stand. Yeah, push it back.
Yeah, just, yeah, they can't scoot over any. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, now for our second proclamation. Do we have Brittany in the audience? There you are. All right. So this is for National Diaper Needs and Awareness Week. Brittany, would you like to say a few words before I read the proclamation?
This is Dwayne. He is the president. I am the executive director of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Diaper Bank, and we want to thank you guys so much, Mayor and Commissioners, for having us here tonight and recognizing Diaper Need Awareness Week, which starts next week's Monday and goes until the 24th. Right now, diaper need is a huge issue in our community. 1 in 2 families that have children and elderly parents living in the home that might need diapers struggle to afford them, and 98% of the families we serve are working families and have to choose between food and diapers. So we try to fill the gap and provide diapers free of cost monthly at diaper pantries and to 20 other partnering organizations in the community.
Thank you, Brittany. So now for me to read the proclamation. This is a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor for the City of Dania Beach, Florida. Whereas diaper need, the condition of not being able to afford a sufficient supply of clean diapers to keep babies and toddlers clean, dry, and healthy, can adversely affect the health and well-being of children and their families. Whereas national surveys and research studies report that nearly 1 in 2 families struggle with diaper need. 48% of families delay changing a diaper to extend the available supply. And whereas a daily or weekly supply of diapers is generally an eligibility requirement for babies and toddlers to participate in child care programs and quality early education programs that enable children to thrive and parents to work. And whereas many parents struggling with diaper need report missing an average of 5 days of work each month due to an insufficient supply of diapers. And whereas without enough diapers, babies and toddlers risk infections and health problems that may require medical attention, resulting in medical costs, and parents may be prevented from accessing child care needed to go to work or school, thereby destabilizing the family's economic prospects and well-being. Whereas the citizens of the City of Dania Beach recognize that all diaper need is a public health issue, and addressing diaper need can lead to economic opportunity for the state's families and communities and improved health for children, thus ensuring all children and families have access to the necessities required to thrive and reach their full potential. And whereas the City of Dania Beach is proud to be home to trusted community-based organizations, including the Greater Fort Lauderdale Diaper Bank and the Florida Essential Needs Coalition, that recognize the importance of diapers in ensuring health and providing economic stability for families, and thus distribute diapers to families throughout various channels. And whereas, through their important work of addressing diaper needs, diaper banks play a critical role in supporting families, improving infant health and well-being, and advancing our local and state economic growth. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Dania Beach City Commission, I, Archibald John Ryan IV, Mayor of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim September 18th through September 24th, 2023, as National Diaper Needs Awareness Week in the City of Dania Beach. And I do thank the above-mentioned diaper banks, their staff, volunteers, and donors for the courageous service during this crisis, and encourage the citizens of Dania Beach to donate generously to diaper banks and diaper drives and support those organizations that collect and distribute diapers to families struggling with diaper need, so that all Broward County children and families can thrive and reach their full potential. Dated this 13th day of September, 2023. We could clap for this one.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan and Commission.
Please come up, accept the proclamation, we'll get a picture.
There you go. All right.
The shirt, too.
Yes. There, yeah, it's in big need. Okay, now we're going to go on to administrative reports, and we will start with our city manager, Madam Manager Garcia.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commission, city team, and esteemed guests and residents. We're very happy to report, it wasn't on my report because I got the call from our Public Works Deputy Director, that we have reopened our Griffin Marine Boat Ramp. So very excited. Our goal was to open it as soon as possible. Both Candido and I have gone and we've inspected it. It's clean. We've regrooved it. So our secondary game plan would be to do a design and construction. But right now it's safe. Our people can use it, and I know how important that is to them. It was great to see Representative Cassell. I was just talking to our mayor and Commissioner Davis and Llewellyn about the upcoming session. Our upcoming legislative session is earlier this year, and we are already working on the ask. These past 2 years, we've been able to receive $6.5 million. I put 5, but then Hillary just reminded us of the 1.5 million for the Holocaust Museum. So the return on our investment on this trips to Tallahassee are extremely, extremely important. So if we're going to have our chief of staff, Maxine, work with you all that are interested in going. We've been speaking with Ron Book's office, and so we have a small window to leave Monday, November the 6th, and return Wednesday morning on the 8th, and spend the whole day on the 7th in advocacy for our city. We have several storm water projects, parks projects, our EOC, so we're very excited about that and working very closely with the Ron Book team. In addition to that, I wanted to also inform you that the return of Dania After Dark, we're extremely excited about that. Those boxes that I have given you is our new Dania Beach After Dark t-shirts that we will be selling. They're really beautiful. I'd like to thank the entire Special Events Committee, Parks and Recreation, Cassie, Ashley, Eric, Nanette. Everybody's been doing a fantastic job. We're going to have a beer garden, a beer tasting. And Cassie keeps me updated, and we've already sold 165 tastings for the beer garden. We're going to be closely working with the hotels nearby. With so many people tasting beers, we want to make sure that there's an option and to have some room blocks at our local hotels as well. We're very excited. The IT Parker renovations and constructions will commence soon. As a matter of fact, we have an item on the agenda today, and we're extremely excited because we believe that by the time that we're done with the construction at IT Parker, it's going to be the premier rental facility, and not only for our seniors that are super excited to get back in there again, but for all our residents and visitors. We're going to be able to really maximize that location on the waterfront, and we look forward to doing a summer of 2024 ribbon cutting. Additionally, the Nyberg Swanson House and the Women's Clubhouse is in design phase. It's going to be followed by the RFP and the construction. And we have a ribbon cutting and grand opening planned for the event in the fall of 2024. So next year is going to be very significant, all are aligned with our 120th birthday. But these facilities are going to be truly magnificent, and we're all very proud of the old and the new and our historic facilities as well. Chief Tarala and the team concluded a traffic assessment of Southwest 40th Avenue in the area of the Browser Maimonides Academy. Oftentimes we make our own observations, but we're also very responsive when we get calls from our residents. You all are calls that are receiving concerns and also communication from our residents. And within a period of a couple of days, we were able to see the difference in how quickly they were moving traffic along in the pickups in the morning and in the afternoon. So that was an issue and an area of concern, but I want to let our residents know that that has been handled. Thank you so much to Chief Tarala and the team out there. Outstanding job with that. We also want to thank you for your support on our city in regards to the recruitment of all these new positions. We got ahead of the game. So we've been advertising the 10 new positions. We're very excited that we have our new PIO that will be starting the second week in October. So we look forward to introducing her to you. And just Nanette has been doing a fantastic job with Ashley, but to be able to have that additional team player is going to be truly outstanding. I also wanted to include 2 letters that are attached here in gratitude from our friends at the Historic Society and also our friends at the Quarterdeck. We go above and beyond for our residents, and I know how happy that makes you, because that's why you're here, to ensure that we're delivering excellence and service in all the departments. So we're grateful when our committee of Historic Society, that by the way is doing a tremendous job, needed some room. Eve gave up her office, and they've been working from that office, and we're very excited to work with them. We're very excited for the State of the City address, November the 9th. We're very excited for our second annual employee picnic. Thank you, Commissioner Salvino, which will occur on the 14th, the same day as Danny After Dark. So we're just very excited with the work that our department directors are doing, and just thank you for your support to this great commission. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Attorney Boutsis?
Good evening. I just wanted to announce that there are several cases that I'm looking to get confirmation from you to settle. They're the Citizens for Responsible Development and Herbert Simpson versus the city. This is under case number CACE 11-22597 and the appellate court case number of 4D2021-1306. And then it's Citizens again versus the city under case number 14019078 and the appeal from there. It would be a settlement for the city to pay $2,500, and the case would be generally dismissed and all of the appeals.
Do I have a consensus from the commission to settle? Yes, we do.
Thank you.
All right.
That completes my report.
Okay, please. Vice Mayor?
Yes, I just wanted to, through the mayor, ask our city attorney, so when you came on board, how many outstanding lawsuits were there involving the city?
When I took over the title of city attorney, there were about 24 cases. We're down to 2.
That's what I was gonna ask you next. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's keep it that way. Thank you, City Attorney. That concludes your, okay, perfect. All right, Alora, on to you with reminders.
Yes, okay, so for this month, September 20th, 2023 at 5:05 PM, we have our public hearing, which is our final for the adoption of the millage and the budget. And then following that at 5:30, you have your CRA workshop, also on the 20th. And then September 26th at 7 PM, you have your regular city commission meeting.
Do I have consensus to approve the city clerk reminders? We're okay there? All right, all good, perfect. Thank you, Laura. All right, now on to public safety reports. We'll start with Captain Terrella.
Commissioners, good evening, Vice Mayor, Mayor, City Manager. So we had a really busy couple weeks. So this is just a little snapshot of what we did over the last couple weeks. To start, we had a good arrest, and some of it, it doesn't have to be the chasing bad guys on foot. This was an investigative arrest we had. We had a couple porch pirate thefts that we observed that were going on, where packages were stolen off of driveways and porches. So we're lucky that one of them, Ring Doorbell, captured a photo. We put an alert flyer out, and one of our deputies, who very familiar with his zone, knows the residents, immediately recognized the suspect. Once we notified the suspect, we got an arrest warrant out for the suspect, and we were able to locate the suspect last week, and we placed her into custody for grand theft, and we were able to get the merchandise back. That was a very good arrest, very good on the deputies knowing the community and the residents. We had another arrest that we talked about a couple weeks ago, and this is a follow-up. We talked about we had an increase in auto thefts. So what we do is that myself and the assistant chief and my CI sergeant, we get an uptick on something. What we'll do is that every Tuesday we have a meeting and we look at the crime patterns, and we realize that we had an uptick on the auto thefts. So we went back and looked at our LPR systems. Again, the ones that the city purchased has been we know how great they've been for the city. And what we did is that we went back, and my detective pulled all the tags that came through this certain time frame that we had an idea where the vehicle was stolen. And we were able to identify that this one truck kept on going up and down, and it was an F-250. And through investigative means, we realized that this F-250 had a lift that could come out underneath it and be hidden, and you go up, scoop the car, lift it up, and take it. We were able to, through our investigative means, track down that vehicle, get the tag number, again, based on our LPR system, and we were able to place that individual into custody for grand theft. Hollywood is also working 2 other auto thefts on the same individual. Since we have placed that suspect into custody, we have had a decrease of auto thefts over the last 2 weeks, a major decrease of auto thefts. So obviously that goes hand in hand, and that's great to report. I think we've had a 30–40% decrease in auto thefts. I'll have the exact numbers next week, but that's a huge decrease for the last 2 weeks. And last, which was a really good arrest, unfortunately we had a residential burglary that occurred. Resident came home, and inside of our residence there was a suspect. Luckily, the resident was able to call 911. While in the process of calling 911, the suspect actually battered the victim. The suspect ran out of the house right as our units were arriving at the house. Our units gave foot chase on the suspect, and we were able to place the suspect into custody. The suspect was charged with burglary, battery, resisting with violence, and a bunch of other felonies, and he's currently in jail. So it was a really good arrest. And thank God the victim is okay too. School enforcement. Dania Beach Elementary, I want to let you know we have placed the school, signage over there, our speed trailers, and our signboard over there. And we also now have a second deputy assigned to Dania Beach Elementary. So our motorman, he handles Federal Highway, because actually that's a speedway. So our motorman will be on Federal Highway, and now we placed a second deputy who's on 3rd Avenue on the front of the school. So he'll be out there for arrivals and dismissals. So there'll be 2 of them out there now at all times, plus the boards that we have out there too. Sergeant Seapot, I wanted to say this to the city. Sergeant Seapot, who runs our crime suppression team, he does amazing, and a lot of you know him, what he does for us. Well, what we did is that we discussed that, obviously with Dania Point coming, active shooter is always a topic that we discuss, always. And with Dania Point being here and that being such a high target area, Sergeant Seapot was actually, he put in and he got accepted where he is currently this week. He is in a 40-hour Alabama class, which is an elite class in the whole entire country for active shooter training, where he is, this class is actually for like teach the teacher. It's the highest of you can go. And he's gonna bring that back to us in Dania Beach, where he is now gonna be able to not only teach the Dania residents, but he's now gonna be able to give that to our deputies. We're all trained in active shooter training, but this is a different level of training that he's gonna bring back to us, that we'll have specifically in Dania Beach with our Dania deputies, that he'll be able to train our Dania deputies weekly, monthly, whenever we decide to do it, but he'll be able to have that hands-on training with us that he's bringing back with us. So that's going to be awesome for us in Dania, that we'll have that other districts won't have, that we'll have specifically in Dania, that we can do that active shooter training for our deputies continually here, which is going to be awesome for us. God forbid, anything ever happens, our guys will be absolutely the best trained in the county to respond to that. We also sent Eric and Taryn down to the FBI, had a meeting this week for the high holidays. So Eric and Taryn went down there, Deputy Sessions and Hoff, they went down there. They went down there for the high holiday meeting to get any information, any threats, any issues. The meeting went very well, and they brought back information to us. To go along with that, we had Eric and Taryn go to all the synagogues. They made contact with every religious leader at the synagogues. We will have directed patrols in place for every synagogue throughout the high holidays. They have our direct numbers, Eric and Taryn's number. And throughout the high holidays, we'll make sure that there's increased patrols in the directed patrols on their properties throughout the high holidays. We also, Eric Hoff in session also did an orientation for 4 new COPs. Since I became the chief, I got asked by a lot of our seniors, they asked when we were going to be able to apply and when they could be COPs. So I went to Eric and Taryn, and they brought the program back with new hires, because with COVID, we weren't doing any new people bringing on the program. Luckily, the Sheriff's Office has allowed that to continue, and Eric and Taryn has brought 4 new people on the program, and they are actively now serving on our COP program, so that made them very happy. And last, in reference to, unfortunately, we had an incident that happened in our northwest section the other night. What we've done, because I always want to be proactive on stuff, what we did is that once it happened, we immediately have increased our patrols in there. We have our set team in there right now with saturation. Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we always have our Block Party Initiative in there, which is a select team that we have in there to deal with that. We're actually going to add a 3rd deputy to that for the weekend. We are putting up the Eye in the Sky, which you'll see tomorrow on Dania Beach Boulevard. That's the big eye in the tire with the cameras, and we're also going to put the pole camera out there as well. So we are proactively going to be out there as a deterrent. We also, Eric and Taryn and my other deputies also walked the streets yesterday and today, talking to the community. That's investigative side, which I can't go into. We're working on that. But you will definitely see the eye in the sky, which is the cameras all around it. So hopefully that itself will be a deterrent. But if not, we'll be watching. And that completes my report for the week.
Thank you, Captain. Commissioner James?
Thank you, yes. Where exactly will that eye in the sky be? Because I know that a lot of the issues now are coming from the apartment complex that's behind the newest Saratoga.
We can put it where you recommend. We were going to put it somewhere on West Beach. If you have a recommendation where you guys want to put it, we're open. Obviously, we know where the incident happened, so we can put it anywhere over there, wherever we can. But remember, it's a big,
I don't know how
It's big.
far it reaches. I know it's big, but I don't know how far it reaches, if it reaches a couple of streets down or not.
it won't reach that far.
Right,
It won't
so
reach that far.
I'll get with you.
Let me know. Yeah, we can put it wherever you think would be most effective in there. Absolutely, we'll put it wherever. And we're also going to get the pole cam, which is the 4-camera system.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get that too. It's in the shop today. It had to get changed out, but we should have it back tomorrow, hopefully. So we're going to have that out as well as the eye in the sky in there.
Okay.
Commissioner Davis?
Just a quick thank you, because I know I had residents complaining about cars speeding through the school zones, and this is a time when, that we really need to watch out for the safety of our children, and the quick response with which you come up with a solution and, immediately just take care of the situation. I just really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for really just, as soon as we can get it out, you already have a solution, and there's other people lobbying us for different things that they want to come in the future. And I'm like, as long as you recommend it or not recommend it, whatever you say or however you investigate it, because I know that you will do it thoroughly, and that is, I greatly appreciate how thoroughly you do your job. So thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
what you do.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, just very briefly, the incident that you're talking about over the Northwest, that was the one involving juveniles?
One juvenile and one adult. We found out the one that showed up later on was an adult. The
It
one
was an
a
adult, okay. The juvenile, how old was the juvenile?
17.
Okay, so not younger, but
Yeah.
still young, but I mean, I was worried that it might be younger than that, so, all right, thank you, I just wanted to make sure.
All right, thank you, Captain. Appreciate the report.
Thank you very much.
Chief Pelliser, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, city staff, and all our great residents of Dania Beach. I'd like to start off by thanking you for all the support on our second annual September 11th commemoration. All the staff that was there, all our citizens that was there, and our firefighters appreciate that you show up for us. I look forward to making this commemoration bigger and better each year. I think I did a little bit better than last year, but I always have big goals. So my vision with that includes, creating a mural, hopefully next year, and then eventually a monument that we can teach the generations to come to never forget that tragic day that we now call Patriot Day. I thank you for the continued investment in helping us keep our fleet up to date and adding personnel. And with that, our pushing ceremony is finally in the books. I'm just glad to say it was a hot, sunny day, yet wet. For a couple people that got a little bit oversprayed. Mayor Ryan, thank you for having me show you around the fire station. And unfortunately, we were towards the end of going around the fire station, but that little tour got cut a little short because we ended up running out the door, and you got to see it firsthand how, we went from 1 second commemorating something to these guys getting their gear on and running out the door to that fire that we had. So thank you very much. So with that, I will say our recruits will be doing their fire department pride run. We start at the Dania Beach Pier, and then we end up at the fire station. After that, they get a little pep talk, And, they learn about the history of Dania Beach and being the oldest firehouse in the county. So we try to, keep tradition, teaching all the young kids what, what we are all about. We're going to start preparing our for our annual toy drive, which is always in November. It's always the last, right after Thanksgiving, the Friday and the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So as we think about the holidays already, I just want you to, as we embrace the holiday season, always remember safety. Whether you're traveling, whether you're decorating or celebrating with loved ones, remember to prioritize safety. Drive responsibly, handle decorations with care, be mindful of fire hazards, and let's make this season that's coming festive for everybody. And as you know, BSO had a busy last couple weeks, so I'll leave you with this thought because it's important to me. So it's a personal message. Before you step out that door, take a moment and hug your loved ones. Tell them I love you. Life is unpredictable, and these words can mean the world to them. Let love be the last thing they feel from you as you leave first thing in the morning, and the first thing they remember when you come back at night. Spread the love and cherish the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, with the recent 22nd anniversary of 9/11, it's particularly fitting to commend our first responders. On Monday, on the 22nd anniversary of 9/11, we had our BSO police chief, Sheriff Tony. He was in attendance. Yeah, BSO Sheriff Tony, and we had our BSO fire chief, Keith, who was also present. And it was a real honor to have them out of all the cities in Broward that they represent to come to our city to Station 1. And I think Chief Pelliser and Captain Torrali, you guys have been doing an excellent job. Like I say, your public safety reports are the highlight of the meeting. And I just want to, especially on this anniversary, I want to commend you guys, give you guys a round of applause. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move on to citizen comments. I would like to start with Miss Christy De Los Santos. Mrs. De Los Santos, if you could please come up, state your name and address. Mrs. De Los Santos, going once, twice. All right. Next, we have Terrence McElroy. Oh, Brother Matt. We have Terrence McElroy. Could you please come up and state your name and address, sir?
That is my government name. Terrence McElroy. I'm representing Lighthouse Community Church. We're at 650 South Federal Highway. And each of you have a package that I gave to you just to take a look at. I'm here basically to say thank you. The donation that you gave us for our summer program. I really want you to look at this carefully, only because of our transparency. We were honored that you helped support what we're trying to do in the community with the children. So without your help, we may not have been able to do what we had done. I mean, we took kids everywhere, including Tri-Rail. BSO had a great part in it with a fishing trip. But what I want you to see is that not only did we stay under budget, our biggest concerns were transportation, and $800 a week for transportation is a lot for a small program. But we got through it, and we have to say that through the help and partnership of others in Dania Beach, we were able to take probably 40 or 50 students to different locations. We were also thankful that even the Hard Rock Casino really gave us a pass for all of our children. I didn't even know they had a play station back there. So they gave us 3 rooms for all of our kids to play there. It was just a great experience. And we're here to say thank you. We want to show you that we are accountable to the money that you do give us and that we don't take it lightly. Money's not easy to come by. So when we give you this report, dollar for dollar, we're here to say, not only thank you, but we're here to show you that we're here to make sure that every dollar that we get is really spent on children. We don't pay ourselves. We want to make sure that every child can say when they go back to school, I did something for the summer. And so I know you ain't got the clock on. That's good. No, I'm not going to stay long. But I really have to say what I've heard so far tonight with Representative Cassell, I was really glad to meet her. When you vote for a person, you actually get a chance to see them in person. The other thing is about the mental health. It is a big issue, and we're finding that even little kids are I think because of the hype of it, but it's an important issue, and I'm glad to see the city of Dania is taking steps, and we find that when children get separated from the crowd, from the herd, there is when they're most susceptible. So as our program, we're having an open house this Saturday. You're all invited to come see. We put in a lot of money to make the place a green space. And that's part of, why our budget seems that it's expensive. But we are firm believers. We've switched to water cartons. They're not cheap. Wooden sporks, paper plates, paper cups. Because we can't go to the beach to do cleanups and take plastic water bottles with us. So we're in conjunction with Commissioner Davis here, and we really want to say thank you to all of you who supported us this past year and the years prior. So we say thank you, and you got my program manager coming up after me. But certainly I want you to look at that budget, what we did, what we spent, and why we spent it. Any questions before I go?
No, I'll just add, thank you, Brother Mac, for inviting me over to take a look at Lighthouse for Students. It's a great operation, and I know the challenges that you face, but it seems like you always come through on the other side, and that's our most valuable asset is our children. So
absolutely.
Thank you for the report, and thank you for giving us thanks.
Okay.
All right. So next, we'll bring up Santisha Raggins. Yes. Please state your name and address, Ms. Raggins.
Hi, good evening. I'm Santisha Reagans, and the address is 650 South Federal Highway. And as Brother Max so nicely introduced me with the segue, I am the program manager for Lighthouse for Students. So basically, I'm just here. He gave the update of what we did and the update of what we're going to do, because now we are in a new school year. So we do represent Dania Elementary, and we're also going into Olson this year. So we're trying to do in-school mentoring and after school. So to be 3 days a week after school, we'll have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And what's most important is that we do offer hot meals every session. So that's a big thing when it comes to parents that are working. We have latchkey kids, some that don't have parents at home, but at least they'll be able to get a hot meal 3 nights a week and have help with homework. So they are doing something productive, and we are supervised. So it's a lot of events that we have going on, and we're thinking about Thanksgiving, doing a drive. So we'll see if there's an opportunity to maybe partner with Dania Beach to do something for the community. That way we can have help for the residents as well, because that's where our children live. So that is everything. Any questions?
Any
Okay,
questions?
welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Reagans.
Thank you.
Okay, that does it for our citizens' comments. Oh, Commissioner Davis.
Just a quick thank you. I am a numbers person to a degree, and I just appreciate that you guys, I've seen the numbers of how low those kids start in the reading and the math and where you guys bring them over the year. And I also appreciate you showing us exactly how the dollars are spent. A lot of people ask for donations, but don't come back and actually show you the impact that those donations have made. So I just want to thank you for what you do with those kids. I've been to a lot of your different programs and events, and I just want to thank you for what you do for the kids in our Dania Beach community. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Moving on to the consent agenda. Are there any items the commission wishes to pull from the consent agenda? Okay, I have a motion. Motion from Commissioner James, and I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn.
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Consent agenda passes.
Yay. Next.
It's a big consent agenda. On to item 10.1 for bids and requests for proposals. Eve, please.
A resolution of the city authorizing the award of request for proposal 23-006 for IT Parker Community Center renovation to Versetti Enterprises in the amount of $755,671, providing for conflicts and effective date.
Okay, this is a Parks and Rec item. Mr. Brown, would you like to speak on this? No? Okay. I have a motion from Vice Mayor Llewellyn.
Yes, you do.
And I have a second from Commissioner James. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Parks and Rec got it easy tonight. All right, on to item 10.2. Please, Eve.
A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the award of ITB 23-013 WAP Pro Wastop valve installation to Aquanautique Underwater Work LLC, providing for conflicts and an effective date.
Dinzer, please, Public Services. If you would like to elaborate on this.
Good evening. Sure. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. This is the one that we already have a contract with Vapro Valves for 3 years, and this is for installation. So we are going to install these Vapro valves to the outfalls, so we don't have any backflow coming to our streets. It's not going to avoid every flooding issues in our city, but it's going to help us a lot tremendously. So our utility manager determined 19 locations that we are going to install these valves.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Mayor. I have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor, and I have a second from Commissioner James. All in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank you, sir.
10.2 passes unanimously. All right, now on to item 11.1. These are quasi-judicial hearings. Eve, please.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach approving the site plan application for the applicant Dania Live 1748 2 LLC for property generally located at 1841 Waypoint Place in the City of Dania Beach, providing for conflicts and an effective date. And of course, anyone who's going to be speaking on this application needs to be sworn in, including anybody from the public, so please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And that includes anybody in the public that would like to speak. Thank you so much. Are there any disclosures on this application? Seeing none.
Good evening. Corinne LaJoy, Deputy Director of Community Development. This is a site plan modification for a property within Dania Point. Thank you. We're all familiar with the location of Dania Point. The site plan application is for approval of an addition to an existing building. It's really Building O. It's where the bowling alley is located. They're remodeling a portion of the building and doing an approximately a 4,000 square foot addition to the building. It would be on the west side of that property, of the structure itself. And this photo or rendering shows the portion of the building that will be modified. It is the west portion of that building. And here's some more rendering showing the location of the changes to the building itself. The modification, as I said, is Building O, and it's for a new tenant called Putt Shack. There was, the community outreach that happened was regarding the public hearing notice and the signs that were posted on the property. Because of the size of the property, it encompasses more than just the footprint of the building. It required several signs. I think we're up to like about 10 signs because it requires one for every 500 feet. So we included that as the community outreach for this project. The site plan modification was reviewed by the Development Review Committee in January and June. And as we know, there's staff from BSO Fire, Public Services, Landscape Consultant, Planning and Zoning Division. There are some outstanding comments from DRC that are identified in the resolution as conditions of approval, should that be approved this evening. The application itself does support the city's strategic plan through several objectives, values. And in terms of the budgetary impact, the new addition to the building and additional square footage of commercial space will add to the city's tax base. And based on that analysis, staff is recommending approval of the resolution for the site plan modification, providing those remaining outstanding DRC comments are made as conditions of approval prior to the issuance of the permit. And I know the applicant is here, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Commissioner James?
Yes. How often do we look at, and this is because this is an addition that I'm asking this question. How often do we look at the parking situation over at Dania Point to see if they need to build additional floors for the parking garages?
So we look at it every time there's a new building or an addition. So that was something that was looked at as part of the development of the DRC process. Currently, they still meet code requirements in terms of the number of parking spaces. But I know that they are not built out and they're planning more buildings in the future. And it's something that we've been talking to them about, and they know as they come in with future structures that they're going to need to have additional parking going forward as well.
Yes, because the current parking is very difficult at times to, I mean, you're almost have to valet somewhere and pick your car up somewhere else. Even, so I'm not sure how you guys evaluate.
Well, the problem, it's such a large site that the number of parking spaces are there, but they may not be in the areas that are under, with peak traffic. That you might have to go somewhere far to find a parking space, but the numbers are there and they meet the code requirements. That's part of the problem. But I have been talking to them about looking at alternative ways, and maybe you start having, ride share or like Uber pickup locations. So there's starting to be a variety of transportation options as well. So that's something we've been talking to them about for future.
Yes, because, and I don't mean to continue to talk about this, but I understand that the numbers are there, but when you go and eat at Sato's and your parking space is over there by 2J's, it becomes a safety concern. And if you're older, it's if you have kids, there are just a lot of different things that there's not enough parking that is in a saturated area or in one area to where, you may be walking the entire Dania Point to go and get your car. So I think that we really need to sit down and take a look at this with staff and really see how full those garages are and what are our next steps in mandating that they have additional parking on that site. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mealy, please state your name and address.
Good evening, Dennis Mealy, 200 East Broward Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, on behalf of the applicant. I think that Ms. LaJoy made a very thorough presentation. I don't have a lot to add other than to say we continue to work with the staff to make sure that we're handling the parking well. And of course, in this particular spot, we're right next to our parking garage, so we should have plenty of parking. But I understand the point. We want people to be able to park close to where they're going, and we'll continue to work on that as we move forward with the rest of Dania Point. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Vice Mayor?
I have a sort of a side question, assuming this is Hull approved. When do they think they're going to open this location?
When are they going to open this location?
Any idea?
You got to come up to the microphone.
And I'll tell you why after you tell me.
Name and address, and then. Hi, my name is Brandon Reynolds, and my address is 4411 Lighthouse Point. But I feel like I'm a Dania resident. I've been here for 9 years now, helping with the Dania Point project. And to answer your question, they'll be opening third quarter of next year. is kind of the goal right now. So September timeframe, if we can meet that.
Well, we really need to probably look at the parking situation because I'm hearing from a lot of people, they're looking forward to this particular location opening. I've had people as far north as Palm Beach, asking me if it's open yet, and some in Miami-Dade County as well asking me if it's open yet. So, I think it's going to be very popular. So, anyway, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes. The parking is a question I have, so I don't know who wants to answer it. Dennis, you want to answer it? You know, when you build a condominium, you have so many parking spots per unit.
Right.
And I don't know how you regulate the parking spots for a shopping center, mixed use area like that. I can tell you that, I'm always proactive with Dania Point in any way we can do it. But I can tell you, along with Commissioner James and everybody else, I go to Dania Point a lot. And the parking garages are full. On the weekends, you can't even find a spot. And you're right, you could be walking from up in the front by the UFIT, and you can't even get to the UFIT. There's no place to park. Parking is critical over there, and I really feel like, we need to have an answer of how many spaces it takes if you have a full restaurant or a full bowling alley, or if you have a full, because everything over there is full. I mean, it's not like partial full. And I think we're to a point where there needs to be some kind of, well, not action, but I mean, some kind of something that tells us, the numbers of like, yeah, this is how many parking spots you need for this place, and this is how many parking spots. I think, and you count, you're going to be 1,000 parking lots short.
So the way that you mentioned, for example, a condominium. So for residential, parking is based on the number of units and
Right.
sometimes the number of bedrooms. For commercial, it's based on square footage. And there may be a different ratio per square foot for a restaurant than for a store because it's based on, customer use area. So we do, as mentioned, have more than the code required amount of parking, but I recognize you're talking about something more than just a code here. So as I mentioned, this one is right next to the garage. We hope it will be as popular as you've described, and we'll make sure that we continue to work on these issues so that we can provide good parking. Because if customers can't park, they're not going to come and see us anymore.
Or they can't park already.
I hear you.
I mean, it's not, I understand what you're trying to accomplish here in this thing. I just understand that, there's not enough parking already. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it is a busy shopping center. I mean, I don't want to deprive anybody of a business that's in there as well. I guess you can look at it as first come, first serve, but, the point of it is that I think, whether this passes or not, I think that before anything else goes on there, I think we need to have some kind of an idea where people are going to park, or we should accept as a city that, like I say, first come, first serve. If people get there and you're out of parking, you're out of parking, but I just don't want to discourage people from coming back again.
Understood. This is a very small addition to an existing building, 4,000 square feet, but I understand the importance of the
Okay,
point.
well,
Yep, I
It's not
got
your
the
fault.
point, I'll tell you that.
Vice Mayor Llewellyn?
Yes, I actually, just a thought on that, because there actually is plenty of parking, it's just not near where the most popular places are. That's what the problem is. So you have
Understood.
like retail and whatnot that's closed at night, but you have all these, like the movie theater, for example, is packed, and the Nike store is packed, and the Improv is packed. So people have to walk a long ways or whatever to get to their parking space. Because there's plenty of parking at the end near like Outback and 2J's and Hobby Lobby in that area. In some places that I've seen in other locations, they have a trolley or something that goes around and picks people up and takes them around different places. Maybe that's something that we need to talk to Dania Point about. This has nothing to do with you necessarily, but I'm just saying. I don't know if it's something. It's a lot of walking. It's a long distance for some people. Yeah, that's the problem. Like if you're.
Well, this is an active activity of what Putt Shack provides. So it's
Exactly.
probably an active audience. Sure,
Yeah.
they can walk a little bit.
But for other things, it may not be. I just, since this is coming up now, it has nothing to do with your item, and I apologize. But just, it's something that we may want to think about in the future, maybe talking to them about that and seeing if that's a service that might be available at some point. Because I have seen it at other malls, especially malls that are like spread out along a large area. Anyway, thank you. Sorry. To
Commissioner
digress.
James?
Yes, not for you, Mr. Mealy, more so for Corinne and not an immediate answer, but maybe a solution is because a lot of the parking garages are taken up by valet. So maybe if valet can park the cars towards Sterling Road or in the other open spaces, it can save a lot of those other parking spaces that are in the garage for our customers. And I know we all need to exercise and everything else, but at a certain point in time, you don't want to exercise, you don't want to sweat while you're walking around. And again, it gets dark, it's not safe. You have kids and you're walking in between a lot of cars and a lot of traffic and stuff. So maybe that's a solution. I'm not sure how they regulate that or who to even speak to, but
Okay, Commissioner, that's what I've seen. A lot of valet spaces up there in the front. I mean, and that could be a good solution.
Mr. Mayor, could I add something?
Please.
So as you were saying it, I was checking with the client, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk to our valet people and say, park in the place in the front where nobody's parking. I know you have to run back and forth with the car, but that's what you do when you're a valet.
Let the valet get the exercise.
Right. Let them walk further.
Yeah.
I hear you. Thank you.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yeah, last question. Something in the future thought that would be that maybe they could take some of the parking spaces that are there and, add another parking garage on those spaces and go up. I mean, it's something that, I don't know, that's, can't lift them, so they've got to find some place to do it. I like the spot, though, better. Those valet people, they can get a golf cart, they can run their people back and forth and leave it to the residents. With that, I make a motion to pass the item.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item from the public?
Okay, with that, come on.
Mr. Young, please state your name and address.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, everybody on the dais, I can agree with
Mr. Young, please state.
225 Northwest 7th Avenue
Ricky
in
Young.
the beautiful city of Dania Beach, Ricky Young. I'd like to concur with Commissioner Salvino and Commissioner James. The parking is ridiculous over there. And as the weekend get a little closer, it's like a traffic mob over there. If you don't have adequate parking on paper, you can say anything with your mouth. You're going to have a lot of fights over there. So folks will start fighting for a parking space. And folks will be holding a parking space for somebody else to come. So we need to deal with that too. So we must have adequate parking spaces, not just only on the weekend, through the weeknights. When I go through there, when I go to a particular place, nowhere to park. Where I'm going to leave my car to the house and walk? No, I think not.
Go to Uber.
Uber. Why would I want to pay to go over there? That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Young. They got bike racks at Dania Point, right? Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Salvino. I have a second from Commissioner James. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the item passes.
Don't come back with more buildings until you fix the parking.
Thank you, gentlemen.
problem.
Looking forward to the Putt Shack. See you the third quarter next year.
Cool.
All right, we have no first readings. On to item 13.1 of our second readings. Eve.
An ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 28 Land Development Code, Part 2 Site Development Regulations, Article 265 Off-Street Parking Requirements at 265-140 Structural Parking Facilities to remove certain requirements relating to parking garages requirements, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and effective date.
Good evening. This is second reading of the text amendment addressing the column locations in parking garages. We were proposing to eliminate the required setbacks. We discussed this at a previous meeting. This is second reading. I'm available if you have any questions.
This is a public hearing. Does any member of the public wish to speak on this item? All right, comments from the commission or a motion? I have a motion from Commissioner James and I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and Laura passes unanimously. Okay, 13.2.
An ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 28 Land Development Code, Part 6 Development Review Procedures and Requirements, Article 635 Site Plans at Section 63530 Exclusions to exclude duplex construction from the Development Review Committee requirements, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. It's the second reading of this ordinance, and this is the ordinance that we're removing duplexes from the site plan requirements.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? I don't see anybody. Discussion or action from the commission. Vice Mayor Llewellyn.
Make a motion.
Oh, I have a motion, and I have a second from Commissioner James. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. 10.3, please, Eve.
And
Or
ordinance.
13.3, excuse me.
And an ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 8 Buildings, Article 2 Property Standards at Section 8-25 Building Safety Inspection Program 40-year recertification pursuant to Section 11015 of the Broward County Administrative Provisions, Chapter 1 Florida Building Code, and Policy 5-05 of the Broward County Board of Rules and Appeals, BORA, and recertification every 10 years thereafter to reflect Broward County requirements, eliminating reference to the 40-year recertification program and implementing a building safety inspection program, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Good evening. This is second reading of this ordinance, and this is really adopting the changes that are changing it from the 40-year recertification to the building safety inspection program.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody, a member of the public, wish to speak on this item? All right, I have a motion from Commissioner James, and I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor? Aye. Okay, 13.4, please.
An ordinance of the city amending Chapter 6 entitled Beaches, Parks, Waterways, and Recreation of the city's code by amending Section 6-2.1 Hours of Public Ocean Park Beach Use to update the hours of operation for the beach and pier, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date. This is sponsored by the mayor.
Yes, we were going from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., and we're going to change the hours from 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. Commissioner James?
Nope.
Oh, this is a public hearing. Does somebody wish to speak on this item? Nope. Commissioner James?
I'd like to make a motion.
I have a motion, and I have a second from Commissioner Salvino. He beat you to it. All right. Okay, so that's it for second readings. Now we'll move on to discussion and possible action. Item 14.1 has to do with the Broward County Historic Preservation Board for the 2023 Broward Pioneer Day. And Dania Beach has nominees, and so I'm going to read my nominee. Okay, I would like to nominate Mr. David Newby Sr. at, yeah, well, I'd like to read a little bit real fast. This guy's, come on, he's our pioneer that we're nominating. This guy's big time. It's Mr. David Newby Sr., 401 Southwest 4th Ave, Dania Beach, Florida, 33004. David Newby, let's just start off the bat. He was inducted in the Jazz Hall of Fame in 2013. He's a legend from Dania Beach. He was awarded this honor for his contributions to jazz as a drummer with finesse and natural talent. He was born in Dania Beach in 1936. And he went to Addix, and he graduated in 1954. It was Addix High School back then. And he joined the high school band where he first played saxophone. At 17 years old, he was playing in the Paradise Club at 22nd Avenue and Sterling Road. He played at Highlandale clubs where the likes of James Brown played. World famous Mr. James Brown often visited Mr. Newby at his residence in Dania. Another club he played at was the Downbeat in Fort Lauderdale. He joined the Charlie Austin Band as their drummer. They were the first black jazz group to play on Fort Lauderdale Beach at Boca Key Hotel. In the 60s, at a time hotels in the city were off limits to black patrons, he played at historic Hampton House Hotel in Miami. Touring took him to South America, Colombia, and he also played with Monty Alexander, a Jamaican who moved to Miami in 1961, a renowned pianist who played with a long list of famous artists to include Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett. Newby also played with Marvin Gaye and went on to tour with Janis Joplin and played for President Bill Clinton in Miami. Like I said, this is worth reading. More closer to home, Mr. Newby Sr. and band was invited by Congress Alcee Hastings to play at numerous events, both political and personal affairs. More recently, Mr. Newby and band members played at several Dania Beach Tomato Festivals, and art and seafood festivals held by the city. During all this time of playing the clubs, Mr. Newby Sr. followed his father and worked at FP&O Griffin, Port Everglades. Also managing a 96-unit apartment on the west side of Dania when Mr. Newby was away playing, his wife Constance Newby took over the managing of the apartments. During times of civil unrest in the 60s, Mr. Newby had a hand in helping black residents to vote, urging them to attend the west side of Dania voting precinct. At that time, the black community voted in a separate place than white folks. In the history of the tomato fields, Mr. Newby's father and family owned 5 acres of land in Dania and sharecropped the tomato fields with his family. He noted that his family worked with the Frost family in farming. Mr. Newby's family also helped pay for the tomato festivals from the 60s to the 80s. His wife, Constance Newby, raised children as Mr. Newby played away on tour a lot. In 1959 through 60, she trained as a nurse at a nursing school where Fort Lauderdale Airport now stands. When Mr. Newby fell ill, cut short a tour with Janis Joplin and came home to Dania. When Mrs. Newby fell ill, Mr. Newby cut his tour short with Janis Joplin to come to Dania. He opened and started a company, New Black Septic Company. Mr. Newby, keeping up with his musical talents, opened up a recording studio next to his office in Dania. His septic tank company proudly laid most of Broward County drains when and where there wasn't any sewers, and the company has been in operation over 40 years. Mr. Newby opened and co-owned 6 laundromats when washer and dryers were not in people's homes. Mr. Newby has achieved notable and honorable achievements. And I'm going to read his Jazz Hall of Fame, brief expert of that. South Florida Jazz Hall of Fame, co-sponsored by the Sunshine Jazz Organization, held its 5th annual induction ceremony and concert. The event was held at the Miami Shores Golf and Country Club on July 27th. This annual event was open to the public and free to all who attended. One of South Florida's own legends from Dania Beach, Florida, Mr. David Newby, was awarded this honor for his contributions to jazz as a drummer, finesse, and natural talent. His career spans from jamming at the Sir John Lounge in the 50s until he joined the Charlie Austin Band, where they were the first black jazz group to play on Fort Lauderdale Beach at Boca Key Hotel. Under the direction of Charlie Austin, David Newby is well remembered as the house drummer at the famed Hampton House in Miami. Newby has played and enjoyed touring with some of the greatest jazz musicians in the world. So it's an honor to nominate him for our Pioneer Day in 2023. I have a consensus from the commission. And we look forward to honoring him more as we progress. And so we have a consensus from the commission. It's wonderful. All right, on to item 14.2, the appointment of elected official to serve as alternate city representative, Solid Waste Processing Authority. Do we have anybody who would like to be an alternate representative, Solid Waste? An alternate. We need an alternate representative. Yeah? Nobody wants it. Okay. Commissioner James nominated herself as the alternate for Solid Waste Processing Authority. No? No. Well, I nominate Commissioner James as the alternate. Sorry. That's the alternate. She stepped up to the plate more than nominating herself. Let's put it like that, all right? Okay, so that's a consensus. Thank you. Thanks for stepping up to the plate. All right. Also, we have, this item is for Commissioner Davis, sponsored by Commissioner Davis, and this is a discussion of potential partnership with Lux Neon Art Gallery for Dania After Dark. Commissioner Davis.
I'll make this quick. There has been a little bit of change with that, but Commissioner Salvino and I, we go to Dania Point all the time, deal with the parking and everything else, but they do have a new neon art gallery called the Lux Neon Art Gallery that we happened to go into. They were having a soft opening. It was absolutely beautiful. Immediately when we went in, they were so excited. They want to be a part of the city. They want to, they've actually want to donate. Something I just got in my phone. I will pass it down. They want to, they want to donate this for Dania After Dark and potentially do something for the 120th. We're not going to do a formalized partnership at this time, but they did want to show and want to be able to contribute to the city and work with the city, do different as far as participate in whatever events that we have. And I plan to bring that up with the art board as well. So as long as we have consensus, just to work with them and to accept the signage that they have for Dania After Dark, then we are good.
All right, I can clearly see that we have a consensus. Perfect. I like the sign, looks great. I don't know if anybody can see it, but it's our Dania After Dark logo, and neon is back, I must say.
It is.
Next for item 14.4, we have an appointment of commission liaison to Broward County Schools representing Dania Beach. This is sponsored by Commissioner James, so we need a liaison for Broward County Schools. All right, I have a nomination from Commissioner Salvino to nominate Commissioner James. I have a consensus. Oh, Commissioner Davis?
I don't see that we need a liaison for the school board. I have been working with the school board for the past 6 months and meeting with them, going to the 14th floor. They've come to my office and had different meetings. I have different initiatives, as I've been in education for 25 years, so I don't necessarily know that we need one person to speak on behalf of the commission to the school board.
Vice Mayor Llewellyn, would you like to elaborate?
I tend to agree with Commissioner Davis. It's not the same as like the solid waste board, where it's actually a board member that is going and attending. Because I know there have been things that I've done on my own as well with the school board. If it's not going to be something that's going to preclude the rest of us from going there and actually doing what we need to do and speaking on behalf of the commission, I don't have a problem with it. But if it's something where it's going to be going through one person at all times and that's what we have to do, then I'm a little hesitant to do that, because it's not the same as one of these other boards that we had people on to be our representative. That's all.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, Commissioner James?
Yes, it would have been nice to let me explain it before we had the other comments, so I can ease some of your concerns. This came about because, I've obviously been working with the school board since before I was elected, and so I do have a great relationship with a lot of those board members that were former and current. Last budget hearing, we were having a discussion in regards to Collins Elementary and their, oh my gosh, in the playground. Sorry, I couldn't think of, in the playground. And in my conversations with several key people at the school board, and not just the members, I have found that we're having two different types of conversations. And so while we are budgeting to give Collins a certain amount of money for a playground, they're not even slated to have a playground built. And so there is, and this is not just for myself, I think that this is an important position or liaison position that needs to always be here, and not necessarily to stop anyone from having meetings with their school board members and relationships with their school board members, but someone that can actually bring back the information that they're talking about at their different workshops, at their budget sessions, and things of that nature, so we can be on the same page when we are discussing things, because sometimes we're discussing things in a different order than the school board is discussing things. And I just really think it's important, because I don't even think that we would have put that money in the budget had we known about them not being on the list of 25 schools that's going to end up being 7 that's going to be funded for new playgrounds, nor is Collins on the list to even have the playgrounds revitalized with the current structure there. So that was my beginning of my reasoning for saying we need someone that is going to be diligent enough to bring back key things that are happening in the school board, not to discourage anyone from having their own personal relationships or working relationships or whatever anyone else wants to do with those respective members. So thank you.
Commissioner Salvino?
Thank you, Mayor. I just feel that I understand. I'm listening to everybody speaking about how everybody can go to the school board meetings and everybody can listen to what's going on. But it would be better that if we did have a liaison to go there. And the reason why is when we come back, there's only one person going to speak about what's happening. Now, if there's a controversy about what that person is speaking by someone else, whether Commissioner Commissioner Davis or Vice Mayor Llewellyn went to the same meeting, there's a controversial thing about them, they could speak up about it. But I think if we come back here and there's 3 of us at the meetings, there's 4 at the meeting, I don't think we need 4 people speaking. And I think one person, I mean, everybody has a position, and, I just felt that, she brought it up about being on the liaison, so I support the fact that we have one person to go there and do that, and the other people want to go, they're welcome to go, but I believe in one person representing our city for that particular job, and everybody has, like Commissioner Davis is our liaison for our arts, and so on down the thing. So I just think that, I'm in favor of having a liaison, and my nomination stands. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that we work individually and we also work collectively as well. And I don't think this takes away from anybody's representation of our city when it comes to the school board. If each of us have our own issue, but we have the same issues as the city has. So it's fitting to have a solid representative, but it doesn't take away from any of our ability or motivation to get before the school board. I want to get before the school board as well. I have my issues to bring up with them, concerning our schools. But I'm not opposed to having a liaison, and I stand behind Commissioner Salvino and his nomination. Vice Mayor Llewellyn?
Yeah, like I said, my thing is, especially with the school board, I think we're stronger with numbers. When you have the squeaky wheel gets the oil with them, it seems to be. So I don't really have an issue with there being a liaison. My issue is just making sure that if there's something that's really important, that we're all working together to get it done. And because it's something that, like this whole thing with Olson, this went on not just from this commission. It was multiple commissions over many, many years, and everybody played a role. And it just took a lot of effort from a lot of people. So that's my only concern, is that if it's one person representing, and just as long as it's a collective effort in order to get things done that need to get done, then I'm fine with it.
Commissioner Davis?
I guess I'm just not clear as far as the separation. If we can all talk to the school board about all of our issues, about everything that we want to talk about, what is the difference with having one person designated? Like if we can all just go and talk. So, that's the whole point, is like, if I can talk, you can talk, you have your issues, I have my issues, we all have our own issues with the school board, to speak about the things that are important to us or important to the city, then it's a collective effort of working with the school board. So what would be the difference in having just one person to represent the school board if we can all talk about the issues that we want to have? I just don't understand the clarification for that.
Well, I would say, just for example, you're a liaison for art, but it doesn't silence any of our voices when it comes to art around the city. But you're our point man on it, and I think it's nice to have a point man in certain departments. And if Commissioner James wants to step up to the plate, then I stand by Commissioner Salvino's nomination. I think we're a team up here, and I don't think it gives anybody more power than the next, when it comes to representing the city. But if we have somebody that wants to dedicate themselves to, fixing the issues that we have with the school board, then, I'm all for it. And I'm all for communicating and helping you guys in any way necessary. If you need, we could all go in front of the school board as a full commission if it's that important to us. But it's still, I think it's still a good idea to have one representative. We kind of do this with most of our issues that we have in the city and with other departments. So I don't think this strays from the norm in any way. And yeah, I'm done with that. But
Right.
Commissioner Salvino.
I'll just make a quick statement. And you hit a point I was going to say, is that you're a key point on arts and so on and so on. And even if you are that, we all can speak our piece and say something if we want to. But you bring to us the majority of what's going on, and that's what I'm kind of looking for. But I don't want to drag this out. I think I see which way it's going to go. I'd like to get consensus, if that's what it takes, or a vote to appoint the Commissioner James to the liaison for Broward County Schools.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Salvino, second from Commissioner James. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, I have 4 ayes and 1 opposed. So item 14.4 passes. All right, we now have a liaison for the Broward County Schools representing Dania Beach. All right, Commissioner James, you are on appointments now for item 15.1. You have a Education Advisory Board vacancy. Did you find your appointee? Let me see. There you go. Wait,
We were all supposed to kind of chip in on that one if anybody has.
Yeah.
Someone applied. Polly
Polly,
applied.
she was in the stands.
Yeah,
Okay.
she left.
Okay.
Polly applied so she can have it. Have at it, Polly. Thank you. The historical, I think she's with the Historical Society.
Yeah, she still is.
As well.
You're gonna call up Johanna right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask her a question. Just one simple question. Does she show up to all the meetings?
Wait a minute, we don't do this with y'all appointees. That's my appointee.
Okay, that's her point. Never mind. I just want to make sure something's gonna show up.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Salvino. So we have someone that actively applied, and it's Polly, I believe her last name, Jones. Okay, Polly Jones. So that's our appointee, and I'm sure Commissioner James will give you her information. Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner James to approve Mrs. Jones. Okay, I have another nomination.
Yeah, Zoriana, what's her name?
I think this is Commissioner James's appointment, though, so we can't nominate. It's not a nomination; it's an appointment. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I didn't realize.
So it's Polly. Okay. All right. Item passes. Commissioner James will give you the new Education Advisory Board information. All right. Thank you for stepping up. All right. Now on to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Davis, we are going to bring.
Okay. Let me see if I can find it. If I can't, then you guys are in luck. All right. Let's see. I'll start with 9/11 because I want to give Chief Pelissar props again for doing such a wonderful ceremony, commemorative, and it was solemn. We did have solidarity. It was nice to see Broward Sheriff Tony out there and all of the firefighters. But that just takes me to I was able to attend the funeral for Battalion Chief Terracin Jackson and in Sunrise at the Faith Center, and it was a very sad ceremony, but at the same time, when you see all of the BSO Brotherhood come out and show up and show out and give respect for their fallen brother, it was really, really heartfelt and very, very touching. So I am just so glad that we have a city that embraces our firefighters and all of our first responders. I also attended, there was a United Way Mission United event at Mad Arts Gallery, and they were giving veterans information for housing. The housing crisis is affecting everyone, including our veterans, so they had a lot of different realtors. They had Marty Kiar there, and he was giving a lot of great information for our veterans and for our senior citizens. So I really think, having those kind of events in the city, honoring our veterans with the United Way at Mad Arts with Mark Epsikin, who's on our public art board, was a very, very, very good event and much needed. Let's see. Also on 9/11, I attended Dania Point at the AC Marriott. I was asked to give some condolences and give a presentation and a welcome from the city of Dania Beach for the Florida Restaurant Lodging Association. They were having a wonderful event that paired all the people in tourism together, and all the decision makers were there to talk about tourism in Dania Beach. And Stacy Ritter was the keynote speaker, and it was a phenomenal, phenomenal presentation. And it's further putting Dania Beach and Dania Point on the map. Again, the parking was an issue just for that event, so we do need to look at it once more. And I think that's it, or all that I can remember at this time. So Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner James?
Yes, thank you. Today I was able to go by our chamber luncheon um, that they have every month, and it was packed today. It was at Jackson's Ice Cream, and so get involved with your chamber and connect and network. Um, I was honored last week at the University of Miami for the Hall of Famers, the Women of the Hall of Fame. I was able to really share about my journey here at the city of Dania Beach and my service here, and it's always awesome to be back home at the University of Miami. Um, and on a more solemn note, just keeping my son's football teammate last year, his father was killed by his son in the Miramar. That was that family a couple of weeks ago, and so saying my prayers to Horace Atkins and Trina and KJ and their entire family. Very, very, very sad service and situation, and devastating. Couldn't imagine being there. And last but not least, I want to use money out of my contingency to go towards the Thanksgiving drive that I have at CW Thomas Park with Parks and Recreation. And I want to have consensus to do so. $4,000 is we spend about $30,000 on that event annually. You have consensus?
Do I have consensus?
Yes,
Uh,
4,000.
I'll donate 500, my contingency towards that as well.
Thank you.
You want to speak, Commissioner Salvino?
Always. Uh, the contingency you're giving, this is for your Thanksgiving giveaway, is correct? And where, do we, besides, they have to come to you to get that, is that correct? Or do you go out and spread some of that around?
The CW Thomas Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And, if,
It's a drive-through.
okay, so like, I just was listening to Brother Mac about doing something. Are we able to maybe arrange something, we can give them some of those turkeys or
I
something?
always, if we have anything left over, we always give to the local.
So if we-
Just to clarify,
Okay.
Brother Mac, it's a little different. He gives out
Meals.
made meals,
Right, well, I was-
already hot meals.
Right.
Commissioner James gives out turkeys.
I understand it, but if we
Yeah.
could get some earlier from her, they could cook them.
Oh no, I don't get them earlier because where are we going to store them? Usually Jackson's
Okay.
Ice Cream lets us borrow their freezer,
Okay.
and we store all of them there
Okay.
that day. We go pick them up from all the grocery stores.
Match yours.
500?
Yeah.
All right, now you got even 5,000.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that is it.
All right. Commissioner Salvino.
Oh, yeah, baby. So, yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Employee Appreciation Day coming up. I thought the city manager might have talked a little bit about it, but she slipped her mind, I'm sure. It's coming along really good. I hope the employees are ready to go because it's going to be bigger and better than last year. I know that we have a lot of people that have donated to making this a great event. We have a lot of gifts going to be handed out to the employees through a raffle. Everybody will get a ticket. Each employee will get a ticket, and they raffle it off. It'll whatever that number is, whatever that gift is, they get to take it home. And I'm sure we're going to have probably, I would guess probably 40 gifts. So there'll be quite a bit of. You want to talk like it? No, you can do it. Did you want to talk about it? You can. No, it's more than happy to let you do it. Are you guys saying prayer? But yeah, we have a lot going on, and I know that our new events coordinator is taking charge of the situation, and I don't know quite exactly what else is going on. But I do know that the contributors that have been there throwing them their donations in to the pot is going to make this really a spectacular day. And to top it all off is that we're going to follow right in with our great entrance to Dania After Dark. So it's going to be an exciting day for the employees and the residents of Dania Beach. And I'm excited to have that day come up. So I just wanted to bring that out. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor Llewellyn.
Yes, thank you. So I really just want to talk about one thing that happened this week and actually has been an ongoing thing for a while. I think you all know that I've been working for a long time dealing with the homeless issues and dealing with some of our homeless residents and trying to find some solutions. I've been working with our BSO team, been working with the city manager and city attorney and some other agencies as well. the gentleman that our chief spoke about last meeting, who they did the ex parte motion and so forth, they did everything right to get him some help. And unfortunately, the system failed. And he's back on the street again. Coincidentally, that just happened last week. And coincidentally, this week, there was a meeting with the chief judge of Broward County. A number of different entities throughout the county, including our city manager attended, our city attorney attended, I attended, people from BARC, people from Henderson, people from a number of different agencies from all over the place, the jails, people that run the jails, just lots of different people from all over the county, all looking at the situation. Commissioner Nanrich was there. We had representatives from the state. I have also spoken with our representative Cassell about this, and she and I are going to have further meetings about this. I'm also having further meetings with a number of other people. I was able to speak at this meeting. It was an in-person meeting. It was also on Zoom. There were not a lot of us there that were in person, but I felt it very important to be there in person because we continue to have a problem. It is an ongoing problem, not just here, but all over the country. But South Florida in particular has a problem, and Dania Beach is having a problem. And of course, we're sandwiched between two of the largest cities with a homeless problem. That does not. It feels like it seems to be getting worse in a lot of cases. And our team is doing everything they're supposed to do. We have invested in personnel. The people that we have hired who are working on this through BSO really care about what they're doing, and they spend a lot of time doing it. With this particular individual who we were really hopeful was finally going to get some help. They spent weeks on this, documenting tons of paperwork. I've seen the file. The file is this thick with everything that they have done. Filing motions, talking to people, going to the different facilities. And at this meeting, there were lots of comments about what cities should be doing to try to help resolve these issues and try to make things better. The things they talked about were investing in personnel, which we've done. They talked about working with the different facilities, which we've done. They talked about filing the appropriate paperwork, gathering evidence, that sort of thing, which we've done. And in this particular case, this was a perfect example of us doing everything right and still the system failing. So I took the opportunity to give this example, without, of course, naming the individual, but talking about the situation. And apparently, when we found out, when we were discussing this in advance of this meeting, the problem was they were able to bring the gentleman in, had court hearings. The initial ones, they were he was ordered to be evaluated. He was ordered to a facility for evaluation. He went into the last facility. One facility didn't have room for him, but he went into a facility. He refused to give a urine sample, and they sent him on his way. Then they didn't have the evidence to move forward to do anything else to help him with the mental health problems. And this is somebody who has a mental health problem. He's schizophrenic. He has drug problems. There's a lot of issues there. And when the officers picked up this individual and brought him to his court hearing, the advocate basically said, well, they don't have anything, so let's move to dismiss. And the magistrate dismissed it without a word from anybody, without allowing anybody to speak. And I gave this information to the chief judge and to all of the people who were there. And there were lots of law enforcement agencies, not just BSO, but lots of law enforcement agencies. There were lots of people from these different centers. There were people from BARC. There were people, like I said, from other organizations. And everybody seemed to be very unaware of how the process works and how it doesn't work and where the failings are. So as a result of that, and giving my speech, I actually had quite a few people come to me afterwards who were present and who weren't, but who were on the phone, who have since contacted me and have offered opportunities to sit down and speak. So we are going to move forward with trying to, one, change the law so that we can actually get some help for people that don't always necessarily want it. And two, we're going to see what else can be done that's not just on the cities, because Dania Beach as a city, we're doing something about this. We are doing every single thing that they mentioned that we should be doing, we're doing already. So I just want people to know that, yes, there are issues. Yes, there are people that need help. We have some chronic homeless individuals who don't necessarily want the help, but really truly need it. And if they were sober and if they got the help that they needed, they would probably realize that they don't want to be on the street. So that's kind of what this focus was about. And I will be coming back to you with updates on what's going on with this, because it's been a passion of mine for about 20 years to deal with this sort of issue, and it's something that I feel like there's actually irons in the fire right now that we need to continue burning and make it happen. So there's an opportunity here to do that. I will, like I said, I'll be coming back to you with further information to let you know what's going on. If there's something you can do to help, I'll be happy to ask for help. But I definitely wanted to update everybody and let you know what's happening. I want to commend our BSO team, especially Deputies Spicer and Reyes, for all of the work that they have been doing and all the work that they did, especially with this one individual. It's the frustration that's there after everything that they've done to try to make this work is unbelievable, and I feel it for them. I can't even imagine how they feel after everything that they've been doing. But I just want to commend them because they've done an excellent job, and they continue to keep doing it every day, even though they're being shot down every time they try. So, but like I told our chief, and like I told them actually at this meeting, I don't give up easily, so I'm not going to, and I will keep fighting for this and see what we can do to make it move forward. So with that, that's all I have to say today. Thank you. Don't laugh at me.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Let's get right into it. Last month, the Improvement Committee had a fishing tournament. It was their first annual fishing tournament. It was in the beginning of August. Me and Commissioner Salvino threw our boats in the action, and it was a great time. It was a wonderful time. They used the IT Parker Center. I'm not sure if there was a miscommunication in us comping them or not to use the facilities, but I know that it's cost around $1,750 or $1,800 for the rental of IT Parker Center. That's basically their whole entire profit. So I was asking the commission for consensus to waive. No? Commissioner Salvino, give me your update.
Yeah, who's telling you you owe $1,750?
It's like around $1,800
for what for that fishing tournament?
For the rental.
We didn't rent the building.
It was the back. They still rented the facility. It was still the space.
Eric?
Yes.
You're billing that $1,750 for that?
I'm asking consensus.
I know, but I mean, I was in a conversation with this long before that, and we were told that we couldn't use the building, but we could use the back. There was never a dollar mentioned at the point. That we had to provide their own porta potties. They had to provide their own outside stuff. All we did is use the outside facility. Never mentioned a dollar that was going to cost that because the facility was not able to be used. And then they get a bill for it. I don't understand. That was never brought up.
Well, what was brought up was that we can still use the facility, but it was never brought up about the fee. But it was never waived.
Well,
I don't have permission to waive fees. So
all right. Well, then that should be brought up. So we could have brought that up a long time ago. I think it's a little embarrassing to the fact that you throw a bill at $17 or $50 at it after the fact when you don't even give the facility up for use.
I'm not sure of the dollar amount, but I find out the dollar amount, so I'm not sure of the dollar amount.
I'm sure it's a little under $1,800. You know, we don't have to blow this out of proportion.
I know.
Waive the fee and move on.
I understand.
And it's their first annual tournament. We want to continue it on. You know, so I figured the commission could help them a little bit. We could probably help them next year as well. So with a consensus, which I assume we have, I'd like to waive that fee. Thank you. All right, perfect. Please, Commissioner James.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Davis. I'm sorry. We almost finished. is it going to be able to be utilized, although it's going to be going under renovation? I know the renovations are probably going to be inside, but is there anything that is going to impact?
That's what Mayor Brown.
We're actually we're actually going to be renovating the inside
That's
and
what
the
I'm
outside.
saying. Oh,
So
and
there's
the
gonna-
outside?
And everything. Yeah,
So
that outside
we need
looks
to
really bad too.
make sure at least.
Yes, the entire building will be under renovation. So new paint, new fixtures outside, new patio in the back.
New kitchen.
No, when is
So-
when
I think what we need to do, Eric, excuse me, is to let everybody know when we're going to stop all the rentals there.
Well,
Because we can't be doing it
after
on the
tonight, because
construction.
you guys just approved it.
Okay, so my
Yes.
question is, when is the fishing tournament? How long is that going to take, and are they going to be able to utilize it?
Yeah,
I know they're talking about next year, right?
It was in the beginning of August, so next year they're probably going to have it sometime in late mid summer.
Is it? Will the facility be
7
done?
to 8 months renovation.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it'll
so
be
you
close.
may need to have a plan. No,
B.
I don't want to say a plan B. I don't want to say that. An alternate plan.
Well,
for
when
it?
it comes to utilizing the our water frontage that we have, IT Parker is our best bet by far. when
Okay,
it
this
comes
y'all
to dockage
event,
and
but
parking.
just have an
Yeah.
alternate plan in place in case delays come up and we're not able to be done. I don't want
I
it
think
not
the
to happen because of
commission,
that.
me and Commissioner Salvino was there. It was a wonderful turnout, and I think that the commission will work with the improvement committee in the future to assure, that they have a successful fishing tournament, because we definitely want to keep it going. It'll definitely get more popular. They raise some money for it, and like the first of anything is always kind of difficult. So I thank the commission for supporting me on that consensus. All right. Okay, let's move to. No, ma'am. Like, I love everybody else because talked real long. So Lighthouse, I would like to give them $1,000 out of my contingency fund for their Thanksgiving meal. Do I have consensus on that? Thank you. And the Historical Society, I would like to donate $2,000 out of my consensus towards the Historical Society. Okay. Perfect. All right. And if you guys give me an update on my contingency, I'd appreciate it. And with my last comment, go ahead, Commissioner Salvino, before I give my last
Don't
comment.
give it money away. I'm a match everything you're doing on my contingency as well.
You're going to what?
I'll match yours. This is our last meeting.
And
before you give it
everything?
away, right?
All right. I'll take
Well,
that
that's
match.
okay. No, that's good. No.
All right, so we have 1,000 for Lighthouse, 2,000 for
Yeah.
Improvement Committee. Historical Society. Sorry. All right, wonderful. Wonderful. All right, last but not least, Commissioner James briefly touched on this, but I want to emphasize a little more. You were just recently nominated in the University of Miami Hall of Fame? Inducted? No? You've been in it years ago, right? Okay. Well, I've never seen you in that jacket. And yeah. That's quite an achievement. I know that you are the Commissioner James, everybody knows this, but I like to always brag about it. She is the highest scoring basketball player, men and women, in University of Miami history. All right. Highest scoring basketball player. That is something. And she was second highest in assists. But I just wanted to commemorate you for that. That's quite an achievement. She's also in the Broward County Hall of Fame. You can see her name at Panthers Arena. And I'd like to have a picture with the commission and staff after the meeting. So with that, meeting is adjourned. Yeah, come on. If I had a gold jag, I'd wear it every day.